Well, boys. There's not much to say other than we are back, baby. We are so fucking back, and I love it. Week 3 is here, and honestly, I'm scared. Pretty sure everybody else is scared. Starting us off this year, our first sponsor is the Pacifico Mexican Cerveza. We're just happy to be sponsored by somebody coming from the south of the border. Trump wants to build the wall, but we're welcoming them in over and under every way they can.
So not in an election year.
I feel like
in this economy,
please don't come. Please don't come.
I feel like that was risky on both a political and anatomical, sociological, grammatical, many levels of risk there that I'm not really willing to take on, to be honest.
I also think that a cerveza is implied Mexican. I don't think you say a Mexican cerveza.
That's a fair point.
Interesting.
Well, cerveza is it's Spanish, so
everything.
Every.
What if you have a cerveza in Ecuador? Is it still Mexican?
That's a province. That's a province of Mexico.
We're off to a road. So.
Yeah, this is dangerous territory we're kicking off with.
And these are public, right? We're like, these are private. Well, welcome, boys, to the second edition of Fantasy Pals. We are excited for you all to be joining us. And yeah, I mean, things are getting hot right out of the gate. We're going to quickly dive into a recap of the first 2 weeks and just how close things really are. In a 16-man Superflex league, nobody has a great team, but a lot of people have really, really bad teams. In week one, the bottom 3 teams were within a 5-point differential. It's basically like you just praying that somebody on your team is going to score a touchdown, and that really could be the difference maker. In week 2, a little, on average, higher scoring, but yet we had 8 teams score under 83 points. So, I mean, the bar is just incredibly low and incredibly tight. It really was any man's game last week. It's sort of unfortunate and scary and terrifying to announce that after the first 2 weeks, the number 1 overall team is Maximilian Robespierre, a.k.a. the Eliminator. Everybody's worst nightmare. Nobody wants to be eliminated, and especially this year with the guillotine. I mean, that's just terrifying.
Bringing the guillotine in was quite nerve-wracking, so I am nervous about that. How does that work? It's after the first person who's eliminated has to wiggle their willy into the guillotine, and you get a couple shots at it. It's just like Russian roulette, but
everybody gets a flick at the tip.
We call that Jewish roulette if you're just going for
Petey.
Circumcision. Let me throw something out here because I'm actually quite worried about it. I think I was one of those bottom 3 teams week 1. I was a little worried. I'll say that my whole basically season got thrown out the window. I went into draft day with a very specific plan, and I just had to bring this up because it might be a rule change we need. I'm just going to throw this out here. I was planning on drafting multiple kickers to start at a kicking position and in my flex position. Kickers have never been hotter. Kickers are bombing 50-yard field goals like it's a picnic out there. It's absolutely true. There's more field goals than any other score across the league so far. Running, passing, doesn't matter, anything. And much to my surprise, there's no kickers. Where the kickers go? Someone has
they weren't there last year either, Petey.
There's not a single kicker in the draft available to take. So I felt like I was basically screwed since that.
I was just going to say it was clear on the draft and really throughout the season so far that people really took the website a lot more seriously this year and read up on the rules. But apparently, I was dead wrong on that. After drafting kickers,
isn't a kicker always part of fantasy? When did I miss
not last year in this league, which you participated in. But speaking of rules on the website, Luke, I think this is an important time to clarify our one of our biggest rule changes this year, which is the 69-point elimination immunity card, if you will. So going into this year, there's only one way to earn immunity, which is to score between 69.00 and 69.99 points at the end of the week. Now, in order to qualify for said immunity card, which lasts just that week where you score in the 69-point range, you must field an entire active roster, which means no pregame injuries, no empty roster spots. I think there was one other piece of information I was supposed to share here. Was that it?
No, as long as they're
it's only that week.
Full roster and all players on the roster were active in the game. So even if they're ruled out during warmups, if it's a pre-game ruling and that player is not active, that your roster is not qualified for a 69 immunity, 69 score immunity, even if you do get
Tough news is last week I scored 61 points, so I wasn't even sniffing a 59er. So we'll see how this goes this week, but yeah, I'm shooting high for a 69.
Boys, it is nerve-wracking out there. I mean, I lost an absolute bomb burner against Mark Erickson, Wilson. I'm not even sure I got the full name there. Junior, I believe. Outscored me by 1.5 points, 80-82. I mean, to say that I'm nervous about this week is an understatement. I not only did I lose last week, I had a very low score, very close to the bottom. Started Bryce Young. He's not even starting on his own team this week. So that's just like wild.
Also, you did score 33% more points than me, Luke, so I wouldn't be too worried.
It's going to get tight out there. And regardless of who ends up, of how the scores go, somebody is getting eliminated this week. It feels like Christmas already. I can't believe it. I'm sure Maximilian Robespierre is absolutely twerked to the Raptors right now, just knowing that this is happening around the corner. But somebody will be eliminated this week. And just as a quick reminder of what happens when someone is eliminated, we don't determine that final score until Tuesday morning to account for any stat corrections that might come through. But Tuesday morning, the team with the lowest score of the week is eliminated. That all players on that roster will go to waivers. But because that elimination happens on Tuesday, that's the waivers or the roster gets wiped on Tuesday. Those players are not eligible for waivers until Thursday. So most of you should remember this from last year. But from this week onward, there will be a waiver wire Wednesday, and then another waiver wave of waivers. Is that what they call it? A waiver wave? A wafer?
A waiver wave.
I'm kind of hungry for a wafer now. Does anyone have
A wafer?
I would put a wafer in every orifice of my body right now. Look, that sounds incredible.
Another level.
A good tushy wafer is all we need sometimes.
Tushy
Not,
wafer?
they are
Are we
not
talking about the same thing?
to get up in there.
Yeah, they're
Pretty
light,
loose.
fluffy, and crunchy. You have to have a pretty stale one.
Pretty loose.
Well,
No,
if
that's-
you suffer from extreme moisture in the gooch area, then a nice dry wafer might help balance that out.
That's true. Kind of like the
In the
mac and
news.
pad for men.
That's a good point. Yeah. Like
The wafer
Oh.
wad.
the wafer wad, the male. Yeah, we could pitch this. This must be our next sponsor, actually.
A wicking wafer.
And with no further ado, now that we've got that out of the way, everyone's excited. Someone's getting eliminated, someone's getting chopped, head into the guillotine, and waivers will be fat this week. Do we want to recap what waivers happened last week? Because I think there was some crazy spend on the waiver wire for a week.
Yeah, go through it. Go through it.
Elimination. What? Let's just pull that up real quick.
I think the Reagan boys really balled out.
They really did. What was the strategy there? We
Yeah,
have to
first
have.
week, Lazard. What was it?
There was
Lazard?
no,
There's
there
one
was
other guy.
no
went,
precedent. There was absolutely no precedent set, and they threw down money.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me here. Oh, wait.
Well, I'll just say this: Andy's about to get married, and so his waiver fab is about to become a joint account, and so I think he was eager to spend that before the wife got any say in how he had to dish out those dollars.
That is just smart money right there. Before the prenup kicks in, you gotta spend that money, spend that cash.
Exactly.
Good call, Andy Regan. So with no further ado, we are now going to break down our picks for who's getting eliminated, sent home this week. You hate to do it, and you love to hate it, or to do it, or potentially to hate doing it. If you're me,
Like a closeted guy in college.
Nailed it. And so I'm going to go ahead and kick that baby off. Looking at the scoreboard right now, I mean, obviously there's some early movement. If you got somebody in this game, if you're anybody other than Maximilian Robespierre, looking at the score of this game, you're probably not too excited and getting quite concerned about your standings. But I am actually going to take it in a different direction after lengthy analysis here. I am sadly, regrettably, it pains me to do this, and I'd say I'm probably right there with you and in potentially on the bubble there. But I think this is the week that Brock's Purdy Dirty's cock is going to cock it up pretty hard. I mean, you just like to be. I like the Brock pick coming into the year, but the 49ers are absolutely, if it's not their physical injuries, clearly their mental health is not where it needs to be coming off the Super Bowl hangover. They are struggling. Brock Purdy, I don't trust him to put up any kind of numbers against the Rams. I mean, Will Levis, maybe. You throw up a player there. You got all kinds of question marks across the board. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous. Kyle, I hope you're here with us. You were the last guy eliminated last year. I hope you're not the first one this year. But that's my pick for the week, baby. Who's up next?
I'm taking the Meerkat. We'll just cut to the chase. It's tough seeing I think who's this top? One of the running backs is projected at a hearty 0. Oh, Cam Akers, hoping for a Mixon injury. That would change things. But I mean, it's just tough having one quarterback and 0 starting running backs in a lineup. CeeDee Lamb might be enough. Rashid Shaheed and Derek Carr might keep up the magic. But if they don't, that's a high risk, high reward pick. So I think it's tough for me to see him coming out of it. There are a few others I am nervous about, myself included, but I'll let these other boys share their predictions before jumping back in with other honorable mentions.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that our wild card good friend Donkey Teeth scores like under 60 points, and it's just absolutely toasted. But if that doesn't happen, I think somebody is gonna need one more Wilson in their name because they're gonna be on an island by themselves, eliminated, and that is Wilson. I actually don't know how many Wilsons there are. It says ... I can't tell.
Wilson Jr. Just
okay. Well. All right. I think
this is never going public. None of these.
it might not show from the first 2 weeks, but just after hours of roster evaluation, rosterbation, some might say,
I'd say
the
that.
hardest team to finish to was Tua legit to quit. And, unlike Tua, I think this team is going to be retiring from the league this year. Jerome Ford, Xavier Worthy, Tutu Atwell, wide receiver 4 on a broken team. They're just not going to bring it home. And unfortunately, Daniel Hapster, the Happening, is going to be fappening by himself in a room because he's not going to be in this league anymore.
Damn.
Interesting picks.
Good.
My watch list was. I actually am a little worried for PD. Again, this is I'm terrified for myself, but putting that aside, a little worried about PD, a little worried about Spofford, but I did not have the heart to wish our poor first eliminator to be eliminated again.
I would be more worried for him, but I actually think he's got enough pieces. He's going to be all right. I'm honestly more worried about myself than I am about Spofford. Look, I'm not sure I'm going to beat Spofford this week, but it is interesting. I think that everyone we picked is in a matchup with each other. So there's a couple absolute so Brock's Purdy Dirty Cock versus Wilson Jr. That could be loser of that game could be the first one out. And then the other one, Too Legit to Quit versus Donkey Keep. There's certainly a couple opportunities there for any of those.
If there's one team to score 69 points, it's Brock Purdy's Dirty Curdy Podcast.
Couldn't agree more. That's
a great point.
Dude, every week
in him, he's just bound to be striking that 69 pose on the weekly.
I could see him scoring 69 every week and making it to playoffs. I'm not ruling it out.
That'd be huge.
So
all
true.
Right, boys. Is that it?
Do we want to do our power ranking number 1 team so far?
Pierre.
Oh,
Rose
wow.
Rose Pierre.
It looks like Rose Pierre's in an 8-person league. It makes no sense to me.
How did we let him get away with that?
So I was going to say, I actually think Bishop Don Magic Juan has a pretty solid roster. Saquon, Marvin Harrison Jr., Nico Collins, Isaiah Likely. That's a solid squad. If Joe Burr gets his game back, it's a team not to be reckoned with.
That is a good question, though. Will Joe Burr get his game back? Because those boys.
I'm hoping for it.
Oh wow!
Dude, QBs are kind of over.
Wow. Wilson, baby, just hit the end zone.
Okay, spoiler.
I'm not watching the game. God damn it, Luke.
I saw him tackled at the 2 and thought we were safe. How did he do that?
I had an anytime TD on him.
I changed my mark pick.
Damn.
Who is it?
That was dirty. I mean,
that was
inches.
Weekend, yeah.
Wow.
Can somebody say a fucking name?
Wilson.
Dude, Garrett Wilson got a touchdown.
Wilson.
What other Wilson would get a touchdown in this
game?
I
just said Wilson.
I
forgot. Guys, I will say this, because you threw me out there being concerned about me. This league, the implications of a 16-team super flex are insane. Did you realize that last week I did not have a quarterback?
Yes.
And not only did I not have a quarterback, I had to have one quarterback. It was a goose egg in the quarterback spot, not a second quarterback. And won. I beat the average of scores last week.
Yeah, that's unreal.
It's insane.
So, I don't know. It's like...
Wait, what do you mean you did not have a quarterback?
There's also historically low scoring this year. Like, it's insane. I think in the last 5 years...
You had just started Jake Browning last week?
I was hoping for the Berlin. That week, motherfucker was going to go.
You had Jordan Love and Russell. I thought you meant you had one quarterback. You had literally 0 quarterbacks?
Yes.
You don't have to play a quarterback. You could have played any other skill position other than a backup.
He did in the quarterback slot.
In the quarterback slot. He didn't have one started quarterback. He had Jordan Love and Russell Wilson both on the bench, and the only quarterback who could potentially have played was Jake Browning, who he played at the QB1 spot, not the OP
That's
spot.
awesome. That's awesome.
The
And
only
James
thing
Cook-
I think James
He would have
Cook
beat my score by 12 points.
yeah, I think Amon-Ra and James Cook are gonna. I mean, James Cook had like 100 points. That helped, but I think they're gonna give you enough of a floor. But beyond that, this gets dicey for you.
It gets
quick.
dicey. It gets dicey.
Wow, I mean,
Wait, can I just throw this out? Because the two quarterbacks that were on waivers this week were the guy I got, Dringleheimer,
Tyler Thompson and then Andy Dalton.
and Dalton. And Phillips
Ringelheimer.
Phillips paid way up on Dalton. I don't know shit about fuck, so I'm not going to say what I was thinking. Do you think Dalton is Dalton on the Panthers better than this backup on the Dolphins?
Probably, yeah.
The Red Rocket.
yeah, no, actually, no. I honestly, I have to toss up. I didn't even bid. Or did I bid? I think I bid like $1 for. I was hoping that nobody. But yeah, Andy Dalton. He's had success in the past. He could have a decent game, but he's not. He's never going to be like a big time QB. Skylar Thompson.
I'm not worried about
playing
him. I'm worried about the team he's playing for.
Yeah,
They
no,
haven't
that's what I'm
done
saying.
shit.
Like he's not. Yeah, I mean, and he's not going to like. Yeah, there's not enough around him to think. So yeah, I like your call on the Dolphins. Even if he just like shovel passes a few to Devon Achane,
That's
a good chance
you
he
have
throws
to
a couple
hope that Achane and Tyreek are
Achane.
just taking in 80
Oh, my
yards.
Aaron Rodgers over 200 passing yards just hit, and I love that, baby.
Okay, no, I cannot have all sack no Vance squeak out a win because of Aaron Rodgers this week. Can't have it. All right, boys. I think we need to land this plane, huh? We were pretty tight, Luke. I think you might also just want to cut this like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, probably. We kept it pretty tight, and then all of a sudden we just like went up for a couple more laps instead of landing the plane. But don't
now
hate it.
we're
Good
just
times.
spitballing.
Juwan
Now we're
Jennings
just
for $50. Was that?
It's going to be astronomically worse for one of us to go out week 1 because you have to come back here every week without giving a shit about the league. Like, that just sucks.
Dude, we got so lucky.
did.
Didn't we all make the or did Boozy, did you get eliminated? Were you like
I got
you didn't get
eliminated.
eliminated, but you didn't make the playoffs?
I got cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
They said my peen wasn't big enough to make it to the playoffs.
We should start like side betting on the outcome of each week. We'll put money on our elimination picks in the future if someone of us gets cut.
Should we start putting up like lines for every team
That
for
would be fun
the-
based off ESPN projection.
That would be
elimination?
fun.
You could
And then
probably do a pretty
Do a side
easy
pool.
line based on the projection number.
And you only can bet who's the team eliminated. It's like every team has their minus 110 plus 250.
This is a fun idea. Look, we should think about this for next year, which is like you have basically, I mean, you have to get creative, but I feel like any extra profit made goes back into the pool for the winner. But you also would have to like backstop any losses. Like if people just crush the betting, you'd have to like backstop with league fees.
We use the pool of money as the house.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so either it grows or gets shrunk if people hit, and you have to have a max bets of like, I don't know, $5.
Yeah.
You don't want someone betting $200 and depleting the whole pool, but it could be
Yeah.
that could be
That's
very
actually
fun.
that's really fun. I like that idea.